Welcome back to the battlefield of the unseen war, where the shadows in your mind collide with the light of you finally waking up. Today, we're stepping into one of the most sacred and unprotected parts of being human, the deepest realm of intimacy, to expose a violation so sharp it feels like a planned cut. We're talking about the moment a narcissist whispers those three loaded words, "Make love to me," to an empath. That sounds like two souls meeting, a bridge closing emotional distance. But to a predator, it's a strategy built to use your highest energy against you. Pay close attention, because when a narcissist asks for this kind of connection, something devastating happens. So fast your heart barely feels the betrayal before everything goes dark. Picture the scene. The lights are low. The air feels thick with carefully staged tenderness. The same person who has been tearing you down emotionally all week suddenly looks at you with practiced warmth. This is the bait. They use the phrase making love not because they believe in it, but because they know you do. It's emotional camouflage meant to lower your guard and switch on your empathy. You want to believe the war is over, that the long emotional standoff has melted, and that this physical closeness will somehow heal the wounds they caused. But you're walking into a trap, dressed up as safety, and the predator is just waiting for you to relax so the extraction can begin. Here's the question that haunts you. How can a moment of such intense closeness leave you feeling more alone than a spirit in an abandoned house? The answer is as disturbing as it is clear. The terrible thing that happens almost instantly is the narcissist's sudden, cold detachment the second the act begins. While you're reaching for their soul, they're already going through your emotional pockets. They are not really there. They're using you like a biological tool to steady their own inner chaos. In the space of a single heartbeat, the person you think you're bonding with pulls back into a frozen fortress of observation, watching you surrender while they stay completely untouched. You need to understand how fast this shift happens. To an empath, intimacy feels like expansion. To a narcissist, it feels like reduction and risk. The moment you offer vulnerability, the narcissist feels a rush of power, not from love, but from the proof that they still control your emotional response. The devastating moment is the death of the persona that pulled you into the bedroom. Once the door closes and consent is given, the mask is no longer needed. They turn into a sexual parasite hovering over your life force, draining the oxytocin and validation your body creates, and turning it into narcissistic supply to keep their fake self-image alive for the outside world. This isn't about poor chemistry or a disappointing night. It is a spiritual theft that throws your nervous system into high alert. As you lean in, hoping for warmth in return, you're met with a stare that feels chillingly empty, like looking into the eyes of a predator mid-hunt. They are physically there, but the humanity you're trying to reach is gone. That sudden disappearance of the partner you thought you knew is the breaking point that shatters your sense of reality. You're left offering intimacy to an empty shell, a hollow container that eats your light and gives back nothing but a mechanical performance. Why does this collapse happen so quickly? Because the narcissist can't hold up a false self under the weight of real intimacy. True closeness demands honesty, and the narcissist is built on deception. To stay present, they would have to drop their defenses and be truly seen, and being seen is their deepest fear. So they disconnect, they dissociate, they turn you into a prop in their internal movie. This rapid withdrawal is a defense mechanism that protects their fragile ego from what they experience as the threat of your love. Your empathy is a fire that feeds you, but it's also a fire that could melt the ice holding their fake identity together. So it has to be put out. Stay with me here, because seeing this theft clearly is the first step to taking your freedom back. Many survivors spend years trying to fix the intimacy, thinking that if they were more attractive, more giving, more patient, the warmth would stay. But the truth is harsh. The warmth was never theirs. It was the reflection of your own sun. The tragedy is that the narcissist uses your own beauty to distract you from their emptiness. They are a mirror that tricks the sun into believing the mirror is the source of the light. When you finally look closely, you see the mirror is cracked, and behind it there is nothing but emptiness. This is the horror movie version of the narcissist bedroom, a place where the more you give, the less you feel like you exist. The speed of this extraction is on purpose. It's designed to keep you stuck in confusion. By the time you realize they were never really present, the moment is over and they're already turning away, rolling over, or grabbing their phone. The afterglow you hoped for is replaced by a cold emptiness that freezes your spirit. You start questioning yourself. Did I imagine the connection? Am I too needy? Did I do something wrong? That confusion is the goal. The narcissist takes your energy and leaves you holding their shame. It's an emotional hit and run, carried out with sharp precision, leaving you bleeding emotionally in the dark. Let's pull back the curtain on what I call the bedroom interrogation. While you believe you're sharing vulnerability, the narcissist is actually studying you, recording your reactions, your need for approval, your tolerance for emotional absence. This is forbidden knowledge that's now exposed. Every intimate moment becomes a data collection mission. They are mapping the structure of your soul so they know exactly where to hit in the next stage of devaluation. The horror is that your most sacred surrender becomes the blueprint for future harm. This part of the story is the hook that means you will never see them the same way again. Once you recognize the emptiness, you can't unsee it. The narcissist's request to make love is really a summons to an invisible courtroom where you are on trial, and they sit as judge. The verdict is already set. Guilty of being human. The sentence is the slow theft of your peace. As we move deeper into this breakdown, we're going to look at the inner workings of the narcissist to understand why they fear the very love they keep demanding. Hold tight to your own power here. The truth is about to get even darker, but you can handle it. To understand why this devastation happens, we have to look at the inner mechanics of the narcissistic mind. At their core is a vacuum, a silent, dark chamber of buried shame and self-hatred. They do not have a stable self to share with you. They only have a mask to show you. When they ask to make love, they're trying to plug into your power source. They're like a dead city without a power plant, desperately running an extension cord to your heart. But their wiring is broken. The energy you give doesn't create light. It overloads the system. They're not looking for a partner. They're looking for a battery. The narcissist's terror of being engulfed is the final picture we have to face. To them, your empathy is like an ocean. They want to sit on the shore and watch the waves from a safe distance. But the second they step into the water of real intimacy, they feel it as suffocation. Your emotional depth threatens their sense of control. They are certain that if they allow real closeness, you will overpower them or, worse, expose the small, scared child hiding behind their big, polished mask. So they cut the connection mid-act to prove to themselves they are still separate, dominant, and untouched. It's a preemptive strike against the risk of being truly loved. That is the dissociative switch. Have you noticed how, during intimacy, the narcissist seems to vanish? Their eyes go flat, or they focus on technique instead of actual presence. That's because they've left the shared reality and escaped into a private fantasy. In that fantasy, they're the main character, and you're just a supporting role, there to provide validation and applause. They're not making love with you. They're using your body as a tool for release and ego repair. The devastating truth is the complete objectification of your essence. You're being consumed, not cherished, and the speed of this shift is brutally efficient. We also have to look at the narcissist's envy of the empath. They watch your ability to experience deep, almost spiritual intimacy, and it sets off their sense of inferiority. On some level, they know they are emotionally colorblind while you can see the full spectrum. And because they can't have what you have, they try to ruin it. If they can't feel the magic, they will make sure you don't either. By pulling away their presence instantly, they steal your joy and swap it for emptiness. It's a scorched earth strategy. They would rather burn the temple of intimacy to the ground than let you walk into it without crowning them as the god of the space. Imagine a predator that copies the cry of a baby to pull a caregiver into the open. That is the narcissist using fake vulnerability as bait. They may share a made-up wound or a rehearsed confession right before intimacy to prime your empathy. They want you to feel protective, special, like only you can save them. This emotional setup guarantees that when intimacy starts, you are all in. And here's the terrible part. The moment they feel the surge of your devotion, they slam the door. They've gotten the proof they wanted. The emotional transaction is complete. The provider is no longer needed. Inside the narcissist is a storm of paranoia. Even in the act, they are questioning you silently. Why are you so giving? What's your angle? Are you trying to control me with love? This inner cross-examination blocks any real presence. The awful thing that happens so fast is this hidden trial. They're judging your body, your reactions, your emotions against some impossible fantasy standard. You are taking a test you never agreed to. And because you're human, you are guaranteed to fail. Let's come back to the black hole metaphor. A black hole makes no light of its own, so it survives by swallowing stars. When the narcissist has case for intimacy, they pull you into their gravity field. The terrible thing is what happens to your identity. As you get closer to the event horizon of their emptiness, you start to lose shape. You stop being yourself and start becoming whatever they want you to be. You stretch yourself thin trying to cover the hole in their psyche. But the void has no bottom. No amount of closeness can ever fill it. You starve in a room full of fake food because the nourishment isn't real and there's no air to breathe. The hidden agenda is dominance. To the narcissist, sex is conquest. By getting you to surrender emotionally and physically, they claim a win. The terrible thing is the trophy mindset. Once they feel they've won, your value in their mind drops. This is why devaluation so often begins in the bedroom. The game is over for them, and they're already scanning for the next challenge. You're left holding an emotional bond they have already cashed out in their internal economy. They bet on your pain to prove to themselves they are superior. There's another layer. The narcissistic injury that happens if real feeling briefly breaks through. If for a split second, genuine emotion surfaces inside them, it triggers panic. Real emotion cannot be controlled, and control is everything to them. So the terrible thing that happens next is retaliation. To punish themselves for that moment of humanity, they punish you with coldness, criticism, or cruelty immediately after. They have to rebuild the wall of the false self. They have to prove to themselves that your love has zero power. The afterglow is replaced by a psychological counterattack. This breakdown shows the rot underneath the romantic invitation. You are not dealing with a wounded lover. You are dealing with a broken system that uses intimacy as fuel to keep itself running. The real horror is not just the detachment, it's the dehumanization. Now we reach the turning point. This is where the empath finally sees the machine behind the mask. And when that happens, the power shifts. The shift starts the instant you finally realize that intimacy with a narcissist is not union. It is a spiritual autopsy, and you're the one on the table. The turning point comes when your intuition finally gets louder than your hope. You in that so-called sacred space in the middle of the act, and suddenly you wake up inside yourself. You look at the person next to you or above you, and you don't see a partner anymore. You see a stranger with empty eyes. This is the plot twist. For the first time, you pull back, not from fear, but from clarity. You see that the warmth is yours, and the cold has always belonged to them. In one quiet breath, the power dynamic flips. When the empath stops generating heat, the narcissist's supply is cut off halfway through. This causes a system failure. They feel the loss immediately. You're still physically there, but your essence has left. You're no longer reaching, begging, or performing. You've gone neutral in the one space they were sure they ruled completely. You know. And now, the terrible thing happens to them. They are forced to face your indifference. For the first time, they are the invisible one. Their hunger meets silence. Their need for control meets nothing. Watch what happens when their dominance in the bedroom cracks. They may ramp up their performance. More aggressive, more dramatic, more theatrical. This is desperation. They're trying to trigger a reaction to hook your nervous system. Stem again, like a hacker running through every password they can think of. They try every tactic to get back in. But the server, you, is offline. Now you're the one observing, calm and detached, like a researcher watching a subject stuck in its own maze. The hunter becomes the one under the microscope. The threat loses its power. They may snap at you in the middle of intimacy. Why are you so quiet? What's wrong with you? You're killing the mood. This is the narcissistic injury speaking. They are insulted by your silence. They need you to stick to the old script, and your quiet is rebellion. The terrible thing now is the final break. The last mask slips. They say something so cold, so cruel, or so emotionally dead that the illusion of love completely crashes. You stand there, or lie there, in the ruins of the relationship, realizing the person you adored never really existed. They were a collage of traits copied from you and others, reflected back at you to keep you hooked. The ghost is exposed. This is the moment your spiritual sovereignty is born. You see that your sexual energy is sacred currency, and it has been stolen for years by an emotional pirate. By refusing the fake connection, you take your life force back. A surge of power rises in you that has nothing to do with them and everything to do with your truth. You stop being ashamed of your needs. You honor them. By refusing to hand them to a predator, the bedroom is no longer a battlefield you're trapped in. It becomes the exit ramp off the narcissistic highway. You move forward while they shrink in your rearview mirror. When the narcissist realizes they can no longer feed off you, their panic hardens into contempt. If they can't use you, they will try to destroy you. They leave the bedroom and immediately seek backup supply, texting an ex, scrolling for attention, jumping on dating apps, disappearing into social media, or icing you out for days. This is retaliatory abandonment. It's punishment for breaking the spell. But here's the twist. You welcome the silence. The emotional standoff turns into a peace agreement you sign with yourself. Their absence is no longer a threat. It's relief. You're breathing clean air again. For years, the narcissist was the director and you were the actor. Now, the camera is in your hands. You zoom in on their flaws, their insecurity, their frantic need for attention. They don't look powerful anymore. They look fragile. They look small. The dramatic image they projected fades into a low-budget tragedy. You realize something huge. You were the magic the whole time. Without your empathy, the narcissist is just an empty shell sitting in a dark room. They will try to gaslight what just happened. You made it weird. You are cold. You have intimacy issues. This is projection, their emptiness thrown at you. But it doesn't land anymore. You've seen the machine behind the mask. Their gaslighting bounces off your clarity like bullets off steel. You don't debate. You observe. And simply observing kills narcissistic control. This is the point of no return. Once you've seen the terrible truth in the middle of intimacy, you can never unsee it. Every touch starts to feel mechanical. Every compliment sounds like a business deal. Every invitation feels like a summons to another extraction. You've cracked the code. The trauma bond is breaking down at the deepest level of your being. You are now vibrating at a level they cannot reach. The predator starves in the presence of nourishment it can no longer touch. The turning point is complete. As the collapse starts, remember this: the narcissist's rage is their last defense. When they lose control, they burn everything. They go after your reputation, your relationships, your sanity, but they're attacking from weakness, not strength. You stand on the high ground of truth. The terrible thing that happened so fast was never your destruction. It was the beginning of the end for them. Now we move into the collapse. When the narcissist can no longer drain your empathy, the false self caves in under its own weight. This is narcissistic mortification. It's a kind of psych. I seek death, more unbearable to them than physical pain. Their emotional control falls apart. They swing between deep depressions and explosive rage, exposing themselves in front of people who used to believe them. The mask isn't just slipping now, it's melting, showing something twisted underneath. They are exposed. The fallout is quick. Starved for supply, they become reckless. Boundaries disappear. They overstep with friends, coworkers, strangers. They turn into that person. The one people quietly avoid. The charm that once pulled you in now feels thin, desperate, even creepy. Others start to notice the hunger in their eyes. Their social web begins to tear. They are slowly erased from relevance. And irrelevance is the hell they've run from their whole lives. They look drained, gray, worn out. The energy they stole from you was the only thing lighting them up. Now that the cord is cut, they dry out like a vampire left in the sun. They crumble in daylight. They choke on their own bitterness. What happened in the bedroom now leaks into every area of their life. They are drowning in the cold water they created. Their grandiosity turns pathetic. The ego becomes a sinking ship. Watch what happens with their new supply. They rush to replace you, but the quality drops. Quantity replaces depth. They attach themselves to broken people who have nothing. NG real to give, and the collapse speeds up. Shame stacks on top of failure. Every sexual encounter becomes impulsive, empty, a failed attempt to numb the terror of their own emptiness. They fade into background noise, a ghost of a ghost. Intimacy for them now swings between extremes. Complete shutdown or compulsive excess. Both are signs of deep disorder. They can no longer enter any kind of sacred space because they have trashed it too many times. They are haunted by the memory of your indifference. They hate you for seeing them. They hate you for surviving them. Every touch they get now is filtered through their sense of defeat. They are sentenced to live in emotional winter. The narcissist's summer is over. Here is the harsh truth. They are falling apart because, in their world, you were the center of their universe. Not because they loved you, but because they needed you to prove they existed. Without your reflected light, they have no outline. They're just a shadow without a real body. This awareness marks the final stage of collapse. They may turn to addiction, compulsive behavior, or self-destruction just to feel something, anything. They are searching for a pulse in a world that has gone numb, the pulse they tried to steal from you, but that pulse is gone from their reach. You have taken back the rhythm of your own heart, and they are the ones flatlining. Discard becomes obvious. They're flying monkeys, the people who used to support their version of events, start to drift away. Conversations happen without them. Stories are compared. Patterns appear. The secret truth of their abuse spreads quietly, then quickly, through your shared circles. The narcissist is pushed to the edges. They are forced to move new jobs, new friend groups, new cities, trying to find a place where their true face is still unknown, but the void goes with them. They are doomed to repeat the same story with new targets. Only now, even the reviews of them are worse. They're a low-budget villain in a world that's craving honesty, depth, and real character. Then the collapse deepens. Their rage becomes background noise. It doesn't hook your nervous system anymore. It doesn't scare you. You watch their outbursts with calm distance. You can see the wounded child behind the aggression, but you no longer mistake compassion for self-erasure. You understand that rescuing them would cost you your life. So you don't. The collapse becomes final. The door closes. The lock of your sovereignty clicks, And the narcissist is left outside, screaming at a house that no longer belongs to them. Here is another brutal truth. A narcissist's life is a graveyard of abandoned relationships. They wander among the headstones of every empath they discarded, looking for one they can bring back. But the graves are empty. We have risen. We have left. The narcissist is alone in this emotional graveyard. This is the final consequence of what they did. They destroyed the very love that was keeping them going, and now they have to live with its absence. The weight of their own character suffocates them. They are done. And as you look at the ruins of this predator, understand something vital. You are the victory. They tried to erase you and accidentally multiplied you. They tried to break you and instead forged you. They tried to steal your soul and pushed you to finally find it. Their collapse is not your tragedy. It is justice playing out. You are healing because you faced the darkness and refused to become it. Here is the luminous truth. The narcissist did not reject you. They failed the basic test of being human. They were never worthy of the sacred gift of your vulnerability. The terrible thing that happened so quickly was not a loss. It was an intervention. It was the alarm clock that woke you from a nightmare you didn't even know you were stuck inside. You took back the keys to your inner temple, and the intruder was thrown out by the power of truth. Clarity arrives with certainty. You were never the problem. You were a feast judged by someone who has no taste. A masterpiece put on trial by a critic who is blind. The coldness in the bedroom was never a verdict on your desirability. It was a confession of their emotional incapacity. The case is closed. The pattern is obvious. The system is broken. There is nothing left there for you to diagnose. Freedom is what happens when you stop trying to understand someone who is incapable of telling the truth to you or to themselves. Your power comes back through self-love. Your sexual energy belongs to you. It is the creative force of life moving through your body. It was never theirs. They were just tapping the line. Now the leak is sealed. You create your own warmth, your own joy, your own peace. Your nervous system heals while the predator starves. The silence in your life becomes rich soil. New life grows where they once tried to build a desert. The drawbridge goes up. The walls of your inner castle fold inward in protection. The old king screams from the tower, but you do not turn around. You step into a living forest full of breath and sound. The music swells. You tune back into the earth's rhythm, rooted, sovereign, untouchable. The predator is now just a footnote in your story. You are the one who walked into the void and came back with light. Healing unfolds. Your body relaying safety. The false alarms quiet down. You repair the part of you that was tricked. You forgive yourself for being human. You remember that vulnerability is not weakness. It is light. You build an N. You sanctuary. This time, the walls are made of truth and the door locks from the inside. You alone hold the code. You are safe. Hear this, survivor. You are not broken. You were harvested, but your roots were too deep. Regrowth has already started. Every cell in your body is rewriting the story. You are no longer the victim of sexual and emotional theft. You are the graduate of a spiritual initiation. You have left the school of shadows. You now carry light. Your voice leads others home. While you rise, the narcissist freezes. They are stuck in an endless loop, repeating the same script with different faces. They will never know real warmth. They will never touch the peace that comes from integrity. They haunt the wreckage they created. Their punishment is to stay exactly who they are. You, on the other hand, are free to become anything. Desire returns. Spark returns. Touch becomes sacred again. Mutual, respectful, alive. The sexual Cold War was a season. That winter is over. You are in bloom now, radiant, intense, fully alive. The predator tried to swallow your light and choked on your truth. You are the sun. Shadows disappear in your presence. We are many. We are sovereign. We are the awakening. The age of the predator is ending because the hosts have pulled back their energy. The grid of abuse is shutting down. We are reconnecting to real love. The terrible thing is over. The beautiful thing has begun. You are home. You are home. You are free. But they forgot one law of life. A heart that beats for truth and authenticity carries a rhythm no ghost can silence. Now go live with the intensity that has always been yours. Your soul is the source, and the predator is finally out of power.